Uh, Before we go, um this is an introduction for the return. Yes. Generally, the just to speak about the return, it's a short story, and it was written by someone called the Nagoni Watyongro. Fine, and no need to repeat his name again. uh, this short story speaks about someone called Kamau, and actually, Kamau, he was there was before this he lived in a place called Kenya, and Kenya was invaded by British. The British invaded Kenya, and the Kenyan people wanted to be free from the British rule. Uh, uh, so from this point, there was like a movement called the Mau Mau appeared in this time in Kenya to free Kenya from the British colonies. Kamau was one of the people, or was a Kenyan person. He might have been one of the many people who stood up to the British to let them leave his country, which may be why he was sent to the detention camp. He was sent to the detention camp. So, in this short story, after Kamau has spent his time in the detention camp, he decided to return home upon his release from the government prison camp. So he walks wearily down the roads, and wearily means he was tiredly. He was so tired after spending 5 years in the prison. So walking down the roads after 5 years away from his town or his city, do you think that everything will be the same?
No, no, no.
Of course, yes. That's what happened really. That was against his expectation. He expected that he will find the things exactly as they are as he left them 5 years ago. But of course, that doesn't happen. The road that he walks in that leads him to his house outside of Nairobi. He was waiting for a familiar sign. He was waiting for things that he already know, but this was against the truth. That was against what happened. He find nothing. Even in his way, he saw some women were doing something, and those women recognized him, and they start to behave in a way that shows to him that there's something wrong. He doesn't know about it. He felt that the woman knows something. He doesn't know about it, and that's what he will discover when he reached home. So that's why he hurries back home, eager to see his wife and his family. And of course, his wife, he has been married to her for a short time, and then he was captured by the government and was put in jail. So when he went back to his home, he found his parents, and his parents gave him a disappointing reception. He was not expected to find this kind of reception, and that's what we are going to know when we start reading the story. Um, to look about the insight of this text, you know that when you experience any kind of journey, sometimes you get a lesson, or you learn a lesson from that journey. Kamal learns an important lesson from this journey that he has been through. He understands that change as a noun, as a word, can be upsetting or annoying at first. When you experience a change in your life and you don't want this change, although you should go through it, this kind of change could be upsetting for you at the beginning, and this change can affect your life deeply too. Uh, Kamal expects that his life will be just as he left it 5 years ago, but he has to realize that what he did, his actions, I mean, by resisting the government, affected the others around him. And that leads to this change that he was not expecting to see. Of course, you have been through this kind of thing, Yusuf, right?
Hmm?
You have you have been through something like that. I mean, something
No,
happened to your life, make a change that you don't want to accept, but you have to go through.
no.
Okay, fine. But for me, it happened. For example, it happened. It happened a lot. Fine. Uh, our text, the return, is will answer this essential question. You know, if you remember, we have an essential question that we need to answer during the whole unit. Our
Yeah.
essential question is, what can we learn from a journey? What is the lesson that you can learn from your journey in your life? The return as a text, it provides us with interesting perspective on the essential question, which is what can we learn from a journey? What is the connection between the text and this essential question? Uh, Kamal, through his journey back to his hometown, he has to do something. He has to reconcile or to adjust his expectation with the reality of the life in the village he has been absent from for years. To reconcile with it means that when you are uh, getting through or getting to a new circumstances, you have to adjust yourself with these circumstances to accept it because you have to go through it. This is what they mean of to reconcile. So he has to accept this change. He has to reconcile because the change he must go through it. He can't change it anymore. So you will, at the beginning, he will try to he will try to fight against these changes, but later on he will learn that he has to accept this change. Right. Do you think that we have different types of journeys that can
Yeah, yeah.
transform someone? Of course, yes. Can you tell me some of these kinds of journeys? Why are you laughing, Yusuf?
I don't know. I don't know.
Can I ask you a question? Do you hear any noise around me? Can you
No.
hear any noise around you? Okay. Um, of course, there are different types of journeys, and these journeys can be transformative. It means that they can transform the life of someone from a point to a totally different one. And Kamal journey is has made or has transformed his character. He learned him, as I told you, to accept the change, and not only to learn from the physical journey itself. It means that he visiting a place and so on. No, it's learn a lesson like accepting the change and adjust to reconcile with them. Uh, there is a question that we are going to answer in this text too. When does the journey matter more than the destination? Destination means the length of the journey itself. When the journey itself matter is more important than the destination. Uh,
The journey is a process. The destination is a result.
yeah, uh, Kamal, when he found his family and he received the disappointing news from them, he dealt with this disappointment and tried to accept this change. So the thing that he learned became more important for him than how many years he spent the journey away from his house. And he didn't care about how many years, but he cared about accepting this change. That he went when he went back home, he found the news that disappointed him, and was against his all the expectations. That will be what we will are going to know from reading the text itself. Okay, uh, I show you something. I'm gonna stop this one. Today we are going just to Farah. Are you here? Are you there? and Mahmoud. Mahmoud Ibrahim. Mahmoud Ibrahim.
Oh,
Okay, fine. So, were you attending from the beginning or you are just joined?
just joined.
Just joined. Okay. Right, I will share you with you this the screen about the. Yes, here it is. So the return. Uh, this is a summary for the return. He speak about the our main character, which is Kamau, and that he was sent to jail for 5 years because he was opposing the government, and meanwhile he wanted to free Kenya from the British invaders. And in his way back to or returning back to his village, he discovered that his village became unrecognizable. He didn't recognize the things in his village because it had changed. It didn't stay in the same way that when he left it. Not only that, but also when he went back, he discovered that his wife has left the town. Why? Because his wife thought that he was dead. And who told her that he was dead? His friend. He has a friend, his close friend, told her that Kamau has died. That's why his wife left the house and leaving his parents by themselves. So our main character in this story, we have the protagonist. Protagonists are the good people, is Kamau, and the antagonist is the Karanja. Karanja is his best friend who told his wife that Kamau has died. And the setting happened in a city called Lamau in Kenya. We have here the conflict. We have two types of conflict in this story. The first one is between the person and his society. This is Kamau. When he went back to his village, he discovered that everything had changed, didn't stay in the same way. So there's this a conflict. Another conflict between person versus person. It has two ways. Kamau is fighting against himself because he didn't want to accept the change that happened in the village and his life. And at the same time, he wants to adapt with it and adjust himself with it. This is a way. And there's a conflict between another conflict for a person versus a person. Kamau and his friend who persuaded his wife, I mean Kamau's wife, that she has died and she has to leave the house. This is the Mau Mau rebellion that I have told you about, and why Kamau has been sent to the jail. Okay, these are something that we are going to discuss when we go through the details or the analysis of the text itself. Okay, so far I think I have finished the introduction. The next session we are going to start the concept vocabulary and discuss them together, where I need you to bring your box next to you next session, which will be next Tuesday, because we are going to highlight the most important lines for you. Okay, thank you. Are you still there?
Yeah,
Yeah.